back to the LCS, where I'm going straight to Jat on this one, because before that last game, you had said that these two teams, FlyQuest CLG, feel closer than their records had dictated. And it appears that CLG agrees with you, putting another one on the win column and making it that much closer in the gap.
Yeah, I think it was in terms of individual skill. Like, if I was going to go lane by lane between these two teams, I wouldn't say FlyQuest has a big edge. But FlyQuest had been super clutch in team fightings and in, like, mid-game close situations. But they got a little blown out early game, and then we actually still ended up seeing a very long game. But, yeah, CLG on top from a great laning phase early.
There are a couple of things I want to point out in this draft. I know we're going to talk about the Kai'Sa and Tazeri and the Renata, but what I really want to talk about is Palafox on TF, because when we've seen CLG be successful, it's when he's on something like the Ryze, when he's on something like the TF, that gives him the potential to go to side lanes, more specifically to go to bot lane and make plays. And I think this has been kind of a running thing with CLG. Whenever they do have these good early games, they're able to snowball them. It's usually off of him being on a champion with agency like this.
And I also think the other part of that equation is Contracts having a good game. I think more or less he had a great start to this with the, I don't know if it's Santorin came up with it, but it's most recently in my mind. The Santorin Trundle on red side, cheese clear, red insta-gank bot lane works extremely well with the setup. And then, you know, you're getting Luger fed. Poom had a good setup for that. And then, like, you're kind of off to the races from there. And so I think with the extra contribution that a TF can bring in, this is like the quintessential how CLG wants to play games out.
I'm okay with you giving that one to Santorin. We'll just call that the Santorin.
People have done it before, but it's the Santorin.
You know, I'll forgive it. But we did also have that Renata Glasc as well as Azeri in the bot lane for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is that this lane after this really ended up being dominated by the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa into Zeri is actually something we saw earlier from EG, actually. And it's also something that we've seen from a few teams around the world. Obviously, FLICKR played it mid with this AP build. They were talking about the poke on the cast, but you will see that multiple times throughout this game, where, like, her long-range poke is actually insane with this Luden's build.
I think also the Renata lane didn't look great given the level 2 gank that came in, but I think she's a champion that people are going to get better at, but I don't think laning phase will ever be her strength. It's more about the utility and how broken her W can be when used correctly, and same with her ultimate. And I would say this game, after they fell behind, FlyQuest kind of rolled over. It didn't feel like they contested very much, and so it was absolutely invisible. And the game took a while to end, but not because it was like back and forth. This game was only 7 minutes longer than the first game of the day, but there was no 11K gold comeback. It was just a slow roll. This was a 39-minute game.
I'll add to that point just that the four of us had an opportunity to catch Blabber off camera and asked him his thoughts on Renata Glasc. And he said that champion is very, very strong. And so while it didn't find the victory here, I think we wait on bated breath for the next time it comes around and we see it utilized to its full potential.
You can look at Hillsong in LEC. He's played it really, really well. He's had some really good games on that.
All right, okay. I'll think about that. I'll think about
you
that.
Should.
Or I'll just wait until it comes
He's a fun player to
up
watch.
again in North America.
There you go.
And watch a better player play it here. Just kidding. All right, up next.
You might win an MVP. You might be eating those words soon.
All right, up next, it's Team Liquid taking on Evil Geniuses. But before they do battle, CoreJJ has something to say about Impact's position at the top of the LCS. Check it out.
One thing I remember is, like, for AD carry in the LCS history, so many great AD carry came over to the NA, and then they played against Double Lift, and then, oh wow, the world best, one of the world best AD carry that can't win against Double Lift. It's like same for Impact in the LCS. Like, so many good top laner, like from other Lucian, one of the best top laners in the world, came to the NA, and then they played against Impact. Oh wow, Impact is like, it's not easy to win. And then he's always like pride of NA top lane. Whenever we go to the worlds, whenever some top laners jump over to the NA. Yeah, Impact is like one of the best top laner. Actually, so far, he's the best top laner in LCS history. There's no other contender, to be honest. But Bwipo is better Impact.
All right, there it was. Right at the end, you knew that CoreJJ is always going to have
He's
back
like, he's a
of one of his
backstabber,
teammates.
you know? He gets in close, he lures you in like,
too
oh,
brute.
Impact's so good.
All I ever want, though, at this point is to have like 60 seconds of CoreJJ hyping me up as a human being at some point in my life. What a way for Impact's kind of career to be summarized by another pro, and I think to a degree he's right. Time and time again, there are conversations about, you know, when will Impact maybe fall off, or if he ever will. And there's some of that creeps in during the regular season, and then he always shows up later and just bonks everybody.
It seems like Impact's going to play forever. I've had some conversations with him back in 2020 where he's like, yeah, he's just not going to retire until someone can come and, like, he said, king me.
Yeah,
Like, someone just needs to come in and just, like, be better than me. But he's like, but it hasn't happened, so I'm just going to keep playing.
No one's made me feel like I've gotten too old, so I'm not too old.
There you go.
Haven't been gapped yet. Again, CoreJJ thinks Bwipo maybe is the player that is capable of doing just that. TL 2-0 weekend last week, sticking in first place. This is a team that, again, we've had conversations top of day between them and Cloud9, who really feels like the team to beat. But in a number of ways, TL just feels like a fully fleshed out team.
And look at this upcoming schedule. I mean, they've already played 100 Thieves in the second half, and this week they're going to knock out EG and C9. So if they can actually 2-0 this week, look at that COD FlyQuest Golden Guardians Dig TSM later half, they could go on a big run.
We're looking good, Jat. Because we both said the 16-2. If they can get past this weekend, it feels like they're in the clear. Maybe that means they start experimenting more, but there's a tough test today against EG first.
Don't overlook some of those other teams, though.
I'm looking right over them.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, I love it so much. EG, on the other hand, taking a look at their strength of schedule, they got Team Liquid today, TSM tomorrow. Having already played Cloud9, yes, they took a loss there, but almost similarly, outside of 100 Thieves, their schedule gets easier after this weekend.
It does, and especially their Super Week. This is going to be true for every team. They're going to play the same Super Week opponents in Week 8 as they did in Week 4. But this is, like, from a gut check perspective, a dangerous game for EG to lose, because they could just look at the standings afterwards and see that they'd be sitting at 5-7 and go, that's not that good.
I feel like with the race right now and the playoff hunt, you know, there's a world where EG, despite being a top half team, struggles to find the wins from a 5-7 position to actually claw over everyone. So that's why I do think this game is pretty important in the ones coming up this weekend.
Now, in the last game that we watched, Mark, you called out contracts for pulling off the Santorin early in the jungle. That's where I want to take a look at this matchup in the jungle. You've got Santorin on one side, Inspired on the other, though, Emily. And when I think about Inspired, I'm actually recalling back to our segment in Waiting Room today where we talked about, you know, either good or poor performers, people who have surprised us. And I think for many, we're left wanting a little more still out of Inspired, the LEC MVP.
And when you look at this jungle matchup, what I'm actually going to be looking at from Inspired is how well he's coordinating with his lanes to set up plays. Like, I've harped on EG's kind of set plays for a while because they were so well coordinated in lock-in, right? Like, especially when they were playing from ahead, when they had kind of pushing lanes for Inspired, but he was also interacting with his lanes a lot more than when I previously saw him on Rogue. And that's something that's kind of dropped off, I think, as the season has gone on, or as they were challenged a lot more, as they were tested a lot more. Bringing JoJo in with him and then going for these set plays when they are able to get advantages.
I think Inspired does have a tough matchup, though, against Santorin, who I'm not Raz, but I know that this is his point, most likely, in the prompter he was supposed to be in today. He
Feel better, Raz.
loves Santorin. He is like, Santorin is...
Who does? First of all, who doesn't love Santorin?
Everyone, it's a scale, though. You know, like, everyone loves Santorin, but Raz is on top, and he gasses him up for a good reason. Santorin has been incredible this split, playing around these laners. You know, Emily's hyping up, you know, what's important for a jungler to do, finding this communication between your laners about when can you go and actually make this impact happen. One, he's been great before CoreJJ came back in, and with CoreJJ coordinating even better about finding these opportunities, working to get Bjergsen ahead. They have really done a great job of finding windows to go accelerate their win con. Like, whatever's the most important thing to do in that game, for some reason, Santorin always seems to be achieving that.
And when you're looking at what EG did well when we were talking about them as like a super hyped top team, right? TL already does that well. Like, that is their strength. Looking for these set plays, coordinating around lanes when they can, and then snowballing the game.
TL, without a doubt, a Titanic team. But Jat, what's interesting to me about this matchup and why we've put a focus on the junglers is because the 4 pieces around each of those junglers feel like they all have some amount of carry potential. Feel like they could all decide a game if they are put in the position to do so. And that, in a lot of ways, feels like it's going to come from the junglers and the supports on either side.
They have so many options in the game, and it's kind of about how they can coordinate. And if we pay attention to TL's last few games, they've actually had some really creative ways of getting first blood. The last game they did like a Nautilus Jhin level 1 gank in mid lane. They've been manufacturing a lot of early leads, and that's part Santorin, part coaching staff, part core, right? It's a whole team effort. But I'm going to look at what the early jungle path is because I think TL has like a 91% first blood rate this year.
All righty, well, we'll see if Team Liquid can continue to set the pace at the top of the table with a victory here, or if EG will strike a blow to that top team as we head over to Phreak and Azael, who are taking over for the day.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello and welcome to the Cast of Death. The Doug Duo has dug our way in, and we are ready to cast the next 3 games. This man smiles at me every time. It's how you know the cast synergy is on point. Yep. Yes, and I am excited to be here with my good friend Azael, ours and yours. And we got a fun game here today because Team Liquid, I mean, they have been on a tear. To me, they are the team to beat in the LCS. They are who I currently nod as the #1 squad. EG are a team that I believed in the beginning of the year looked good in lock-in, but have still not found their footing.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things. It's kind of, I'm looking at EG similar to how I'm looking at 100 Thieves, where we have high expectations for them based on previous results, right? But what they've actually shown us in spring has not been that impressive. We are waiting for EG to level up to what they showed us in lock-in. That's what really got everyone excited about this team. TL, on the other hand, has been crushing it. Even without their intended starting lineup for the whole split, they have been looking incredibly dominant. You know, that was not the big story. Of course, huge matchup tomorrow with C9 that I think is going to decide for a lot of people who they think is the best team in the league right now. But at least on paper, it's so hard to bet against TL, and that's why this becomes a very important matchup for EG, who if they want to be, you know, upper bracket in the playoffs, if they want to hunt for a bye, these types of things, they've got to start picking up wins here because we are getting down to the later ends of the split. You know, there's only 3 weeks left, including this week.
Yeah. The fact that playoffs are in 4 weeks with butts and seats, I am so hyped for that. So get ready to show up. Tickets go on sale in like 5 days. So please come out. I can't wait to have audiences here. Danny tweeted out like, well, that's what it used to look like. Like Kobe tweeted out a picture with fans cheering, and he's like, his entire career has been not yet in front of fans. Like, I want that for these players. I want that for us. I am stoked for that. TL, of course, careening towards a great first round showing. With that one, CoreJJ, by the way, undefeated so far in the regular season, 4-0. Ryze picked up, and Ezreal Karma for some lane control against it.
Yeah, a lot of marksman banned this time around. Zeri, Jinx, Felios all taken off the table, so this gives you more flexibility. A lot of people are liking Jhin, you know, when this sort of situation does pop up. But Ezreal Karma, one of the premier bot lanes. Caitlyn is up as well if they wanted to go something like Caitlyn Lux. But I do think that a lot of people are afraid to play that into the Ezreal Karma specifically because of how much poke this lane really has. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about how the early levels are played in bot lane. A lot of people feeling you have to be able to scrap it out. I think this is just a nod to Bjergsen, not actually anything we're going to get. I don't think you're going to pick Zillion support into the Karma Ezreal. I think that would be too risky. It is instead going to be Renata Glasc. So Vulcan bringing it out. We saw it last game from Afro. Did not look that good, but I was more of the opinion that it was because there was no real way for them to actually engage. Renata is not an engage. Renata is follow-up, right? And I think if you do have some strong form of engage, especially out of Impact, who is a really strong top laner, you know, on those tank engage kind of champions, then the ultimate becomes much more powerful as a follow-up. As we saw last game, if you're throwing this out and the other team is kiting back, especially with champions that are very mobile like Ezreal and speed ups from Karma, you get maybe one auto from it on the ulti. A lot of times they can actually step out of it as well. So you need lockdown to then set that up for Renata. And also, Renata's so much stronger playing from ahead with that W, the ability to pull off aggressive plays and dives when you're snowballing to really push it to the limit and be able to use that kind of passive reset to get another kill and live that little bit longer is so powerful. But when you're on the back foot, often all it does is delay your death. It doesn't really do that much for you.
Yeah, we saw the gank in bottom lane around level 5 or 6 when the TF showed up and they kill Afro, and Afro like self W's, and then like just keeps walking to the tower after dying. He's like,
Well,
I can auto once, whatever. I'm just gonna type some flash timers, like whatever, dog. So yeah, there are some really bad ones. Yeah, she is a as you're kind of saying, right? She's a follow-up enchanter here. Ashe, yeah, getting off the table. And keep in mind, right, we're now 5 AD carries down. The top 3, the S and the A tier, were dropped off. Ezreal Karma, of course, not a big surprise either. But now you're like, okay, hey, what are the other good laners that work well here?
And Ashe, I think, is actually a pretty smart ban, because if you're not going to bring engage from your tank, well, Ashe actually works very well here to set up the Renata. You hit the arrow, you follow it up, then with the ultimate from Renata coming through. Caitlyn gonna get banned out as well, though, so a lot of marksmen getting taken off the table. I think Jhin is still a pretty obvious one that is available. Varus is something that you can go towards. We actually saw the Kai'Sa come out a couple times already today. That is also available, but I do think a lot of these short-range marksmen are gonna struggle into the Karma Ezreal, and I think that is what TL are really counting on, just slamming home an advantage in that bot lane.
Here's interesting, though. The things that Hans is hovering are the kinds of things you actually want to play with Renata. So someone like Draven, Kalista, and Samira are champions that I think are really good alongside. To be fair, this is cribbed from an LCS coach telling me what he thinks is good alongside.
And Danny was a really good Samira player.
Right. Because basically what it comes down to is, look, I'm going to eventually kill you if you don't kill me first. Well, you kill me first doesn't matter because I come back anyway, and then I finish the kill. So Samira finishes the ultimate. Kalista, you pop her, she still pulls the Rens out, and yeah, she gets stuck at 20% health afterwards, but like, the kill didn't happen, and I got my reset.
So it is actually going to be a Galio lock-in, which leads me to believe that we're going to go split push something like a Camille up in the top lane, for Bwipo. So Impact should have some sort of an idea that this is likely going to be a Camille, likely going to be something along those lines. Split pushy, could be a Tryndamere even, but Camille I think makes a ton of sense when you're going for the Galio. So he should know what he's playing into. It's going to be the Gnar, which is not the most reliable engage. Jhin makes sense as kind of just a safe option. Even without this many marksman bans, it was often the one that got taken if just one of Jinx or Aphelios was actually banned out. So pretty safe standard. They do have some ways to kind of facilitate the engage. You drop the Jhin ultimate. Ideally, you're having the Gnar on the flanking position. You're slowing them down with that Jhin ulti. Renata Glasc ultimate comes across, is mind controlling some of those players. But TL has a really good disengage here, really good counter engage, I think, with the Galio coming crashing in. Lucian would be very, very exciting, and because it's Bwipo, I'm actually giving credit to that pick.
Wow.
It is going to be the Lucian, so he's going to go super aggressive. I thought it was going to be the Camille, which he was hovering. Instead, it will be Lucian. This is something you can go super aggressive into this Gnar, really try to slam home an advantage. And already you're expecting him to play very heavily through topside, try to play to facilitate this Lucian. You cannot allow this guy just be sitting on an island to be getting picked on by the jungler. You have to play aggressive if you're going to play Lucian top to get anything out of it.
It is his 16th unique champion played so far this year. EG's highest is now 11. 11 unique from Vulcan, so Bwipo is playing everything under the sun. We've got an exciting match here today. Evil Geniuses versus Team Liquid coming up.
This is the sort of pride that gets you in those big moments, allows you to take down giants.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Ignite, Uprise, Unleash, all words that are actually in this game via the fact that you've got Ignite, we've got jojopyun, Uprise in the mid lane, and in 14 minutes, Unleash Teleport. I didn't realize until just now. They're just
terrible.
copying League of Legends.
That's actually horrible.
That was really horrible.
That was so bad.
I'm ashamed.
All right, well, Bwipo, first career Lucian in the top lane. He hasn't actually ever played it, so interesting to see it being brought out here. There's obviously not a lot of solo queue data about this matchup, because it's not going to be one of the more common ones, but it is definitely, even in solo queue, winning matchup for Lucian. This is something where you can go super aggressive with the PTA, look to have these quick trades, and you can see Impact already going to be going for a very defensive setup. Cloth plus 4 pots. He knows he just has to survive in this lane. His job is not to dominate. It's to just be able to survive, allow the rest of the map to flourish. But I think it's tough because when you're trying to think about like where is the winning lane, where is EG really supposed to play through? I guess it's maybe through mid, but because bot lane is very difficult for them to actually get any sort of pressure in. You know, you can look to try to 2v2 with jojopyun, but Bjergsen's not going to be the easiest target on the Galio to actually lock down and kill out. So it feels like a lot of really strong lanes here for TL, and as a result, I feel like Santorin has more flexibility in where he goes, how he wants to play, if he's looking for pressure or just to cover lanes, to even try to set up dives through that top side or play for objectives. He's got a lot of options, and Inspired feels much more limited to me.
Well, let's see what he can make of it, because obviously an incredible player in his own right, Inspired, the reigning LEC MVP. I mean, kind of both he and the reigning LCS MVP in Speak have had pretty rough seasons so far, where their teams have been, I think, pretty underperforming expectations. And yeah, would love to see those players kind of back on that carry form where they're kind of difference makers in getting to happen. So see what Inspired can do, but to your point, yeah, maybe hard to get something done. A little bit of poke coming back and forth. E-Start and Guardian, they're going for the level 2 first. As the minions come down, they're going to find a bit of a trade. Good damage on Ezreal, jumps away from it, and the kill is in already. Hans Sama's on the board, and Vulcan's got to run away.
Oh my god, he didn't even need it. He didn't even need a flash in there. I thought he was just going to try to flash right on top and finish him off. Vulcan, though, in trouble as well. And yeah, it was just a level 2. He eased in past that route, didn't quite have the timing there. Danny not able to lock him down. They try to take this really aggressive fight here. Ends up going so bad for AG because now the wave is going to crash. Yes, he's going to be able to at least get the cannon, but I mean, you get the kill on Hans Sama, you get the full reset, you get to push it in. That is massive for TL.
Here we go. Attempt number 1, Inspired.
Ooh, nice wraparound.
Gets over it, and the last little bit of Mega Gnar is not going to find much of a stun, just a trade of damage, and now trading his health bar down to try to make Bwipo killable. E up soon, flashes in for the slow, and now flashing with the minions means you cannot Sonic Wave this one. Does the Q land? He trades heavily into this one, gets the sidestep. Goes for the impatient throw, doesn't land it, and Bwipo find the 1v2.
Yeah, that was really well played by Bwipo. It's actually so important. Not only they chunked out Impact initially so that Impact couldn't go for an aggressive chase down knowing he could be counter-killed, and also how he played that. How he stops in the minion wave to get a lot of damage on Inspired, and I think that's what really pressured Inspired to throw out the Sonic Wave early, because if you just go for a straight retreat, Inspired walks past the wave, knows that he can chase onto that and look for the kill, but in this case, he got him down to a good 30-40%, so I think Inspired started to really feel the pressure, knowing I can't just wait around. If I don't throw the Sonic Wave now, I'm going to be too low to even take it. So very well played there by TL. It's kind of reminding me of an interview I was actually just watching with Bjergsen, did with Travis Gafford, talking about how he wants to have some really pop-off games, but he feels like in so many of the games, his other lanes are just slamming so early that he's not having an opportunity, because then his job becomes just about facilitating their lead, right? Right. Why would you try to play to create your own massive advantage and play risky when already you got a kill 2-3 minutes in bot lane, and when you have pressure up in top lane, you just play to facilitate, and that has kind of been his role for this team, because the TL lanes have just been looking so damn good.
Yeah, they have. And right now, though, we take a look at the top side, and it's worth pointing out that, because of the gank, Bwipo is down a flash, and Bwipo is actually going to be down in farm a very little bit here. So round 2 from Santorin, knows the control ward's in that brush, so he's safe to make any moves he wants. Ultimately, just going to be going for farm. Impact not right now in a spot where he can be hit.
Yeah, and I think because the wave is pushing away, it doesn't look like Bwipo's trying to shove. So what he's trying to do is thin the wave out enough so that Santorin can actually do Krugs and then potentially come top here to gank an overextended Impact as Impact tries to reset the wave. Like, notice how Bwipo really is not autoing that much, right? He's just looking to trade. He's just seeing the last hit because that puts that threat on. And even if Santorin doesn't come up, Impact has to play with the respect that, well, now I could be getting wrapped around on because I don't have vision in the river. And you've got to really kind of play pretty carefully in this spot now as Impact.
Ultimately calls it off, though. Sinjin now down to his Raptors. Says, nah, nothing going on right here. Like, you held it up. Yeah, I was nearby, but nah. I'm piecing out to my bottom side. I got Wolves up in a second, so gonna have to play that one around. Good sidestep. There we go. Pulled into the root. A lot of upfront damage, and Hans Sama could be chased, and Danny gets the 4th shot and knocks him down. Health bar low. Taunt in the mid lane. We got more fights going on here. Lee Sin is in. A flash is out. Bjergsen gonna stay alive, but Santorin knocks one down. Gets the trade back across the map, but now at 200 health. Can jojopyun get the damage? No, he cannot find the kill.
Oh my god, it is such a scrappy game. You're back and forth. Inspired trying to go aggressive in mid there, but Santorin was there to answer. And on bot side, despite that first blood going over the way to Hans Sama, it's a 2v2 kill now for Danny and Vulcan, going right at the TL bot lane, not backing down. knowing they can play aggressive in this matchup. And early Swifty boots here for Danny, trying to dodge as many of those skill shots as possible. They're able to get the good setup from Vulcan and just kind of get on to Hansama, take him down. And now the lane is pretty much right back to parity. So great job by EG.
Well, look at this one. 8 CS lead in the mid lane for Evil Geniuses. 900 gold, though, for Team Liquid. Some of that, you know, very small bit of farm in top and jungle. But, yeah, bot lane still feeling good despite the kill coming back. Obviously making it closer, right? Would have been worse without that one for sure. But a good pick in the mid lane as well with the Santorin gank. TL still feeling good about this one. Could watch that gank again.
Yeah, so I think this is just showing that Inspired was not actually spotted on that ward. So he's wrapping around here, but little does he know, Santorin is already there. He was waiting in the side brush. They wait out the taunt, then they take the Q in, but Santorin has the damage. The Q3 there was prepped, so he just flashes in for the knockup, finishes off the kill. Really well done by him. TL, yes, they did die in that bot side, but EG had the later reset in that bot lane, so TL came down, pushed out the wave. They utilized that pressure to get Santorin over the dragon, claim their first neutral there of the game, and things still looking really good here for TL. We'll see how this lane does kind of continue as Vulcan, you know, is going what I believe to be the best Renata build. You know, with Guardian, he has a Ruby Crystal, probably going towards Locket. There are some Imperial Mandate builds, but I do think that Locket Guardian is very, very strong as a setup on this champion.
So as minions go down, we try again now as the lane resets. Still just the 5 CS difference. 600 gold. Wow, 3 sixes. You know, a little clean, but move on as the waves go down, and Inspired actually gets to stand on a ward as he spots out the trinket coming down, and Impact gets rid of the vision. But that's now vision. Right now you know Lee Sin's top side. Okay, in case you were wondering, you definitely know that one now. Santorin able to get his own red, and even though he's doing this on vision, JoJo and Inspired not going to really try to do much to stop him.
And I will say, because Bwipo hasn't been able to create that much of an advantage, you know, they got that little bit of pressure up top. They forced his flash. He has just been kind of farming evenly with Impact, which is really good, but they're going to go aggressive on Danny. No flash.
For the slow. He can't get one himself. Oh, it's going to land. They don't quite. Yes, they do have the damage. Cannot sidestep the Mystic shot. And Hansama on the board with his second kill now.
Yeah, Danny not able to sidestep it, you know, pinned against the wall there. Nowhere for him to go. Inspired, though.
Kicked into that one. Taunt is on. Going to live as long as he can. The ulti there. That's going to help a lot. Now, round 2. No. Bjergsen's going to walk away now as well, but it is 4v3, and EG can get a lot done if they can. Looks like it's going to be the Herald picked up. A good fight.
Yeah, so it is kind of the Herald traded for that kill on bot side. I still think TL are going to be pretty happy about this. Yes, Karma was late to the fight top, so they do end up pushing them out. They take the Herald. But you got another kill on Hansama. Danny going to lose a couple CS down in that bot lane as well. So things looking good for TL. But I do have some concerns about how the comp is going to kind of work with the Galio, because there's no great setup really for this Galio. It's going to be largely defensive ults. You can kind of go in offensively, as seeing Impact get very low here onto someone like Santorin, but there's no actual lockdown, there's no Jarvan, there's no Camille, there's no, you know, kind of dive in hard engage. So it feels like, you know, his job is going to be more peeling, just kind of ulting defensively, trying to keep his backline safe from the Gnar, from the Lee Sin, and allowing Hansama to really take over from that position.
Otherwise, the top lane is trading blows back and forth. Obviously, Impact getting quite low, has the steel cast, but tanks the piercing light, and he's down to 120 health. Gnar will heal him some, of course. He's not one-shottable, but this top lane's getting worse fast.
It is. He's trying to wait out for his TP. That's why he's not actually basing. The TP's almost up, and he knows when he goes Mega, he's going to keep that extra health from the transform. So he's trying to just really play it safe, get as much as he can. With him going Mega, Bwipo out of mana, and his TP almost available, he's actually been able to withstand. So yes, he does end up losing that one plate, but he hangs around just enough to be able to collect this farm and, you know, have the wave in parity, right? Because the wave didn't actually get a chance to stack there. He cleared the minions before it began to actually group. So this means now he can take a free base. He doesn't even have to TP if he doesn't want. And instead, he will actually stay around. Both players trying to kind of call each other's bluff, but when you see Bwipo is out of mana and he stays, it actually becomes better for Impact, because he can again do the same situation, knowing he's not actually in threat, and you just want to keep it here, keep it in parity. You can even threaten a freeze if you wanted to hold this wave and then TP back if Bwipo does TP to break it, but seems like he's more content to just try to shove it out and reset himself.
All right, he'll grab all the farm, and yeah, it might be that there's a lot of reasons why, right? It could be that he needs another 120 gold to get it next buy. It's like, oh, I get actually entire Phage and Kindle gem, and so it's actually very important. Ooh, yeah. Rune King, of course, got buffed. Much more damage, another 2% current health damage. Obviously, for 100 more gold, 200 more gold, that's a pretty efficient upgrade. So really trying, and keep in mind, I mean, look at the champions against. Yeah, these are going to be 3 champs buying a bunch of health in the Gnar, the Lee Sin, and the Ryze.
Yeah, it's going to be also just a difficult situation for Impact, because he went tier 2 boots. And Bwipo went straight towards that first item completion, so there's no shot that Impact actually has, you know, as powerful of a buy right now. So he is going to be in a bit of a rough spot. But we'll see if they're just going to kind of keep him in that side lane, keep him split pushing. He has the culling up available. That's really how he chunked Impact down low last time. So Impact's going to have to be very, very careful about when he doesn't have his own minions kind of block that. Because culling is really, really powerful. It doesn't have to be used exclusively for, you know, all-in tool. You can almost use it similarly to how kind of Victors and Oriannas often use their ults in lane. Where as long as you get a good trade down, you push them out, you chunk them out, especially post-TP. That is really, really powerful.
Although it's going to be a little bit harder to chunk out Impact. He went for Warden's Mail. This is tech that we've seen a lot this year. About 8 months in the making. Definitely under-purchased back in 2021, but the best option, bar none, if you're trying to survive in AD auto-attacker in lane. Warden's Mail beats all the options. Better than Steel Cats, better than Bramble Vest. This is the choice for you if you need to survive. And Danny, it sidesteps the slow, and Core is without flash, so will not have any other way onto him, but it is waves getting lost to the bottom tower. This Jhin is getting farther and farther behind.
Well, and you look at the gold, and it's really starting to get out of control. You know, EG had that kind of good swing back, but that one kill onto Danny really put him quite a bit behind. Now it's plate after plate after plate falling. You know, Impact has been getting shoved in. So this is one of my concerns with EG's draft is we were talking about at the start of the game. It's like, where can Inspired play through? It's really just mid lane. They went there once, and they actually lost the 2v2. Then they didn't feel like they could play through mid lane anymore. So Inspire's actually getting wrapped on. He might face check here. He's in trouble.
Jump in. Santorin gets kicked forward, so in the middle of the enemy team, but it's going to be enough for him. Flashes, finds a knockup. Galio on the way, and that fight is over. Doesn't even get almost any auto attacks from the Berserk, and now they would like to find a bit more. Vulcan burns a stopwatch, and there's enough reinforcements for the no re-engage, so EG will live. Culling not quite in range either. Actually, 0 damage culling. It happens.
But you could feel the wind from it.
Yeah.
It was close. Not quite able to connect there, though. They do get the plates with the Herald, so they get a little bit of something. And they're going to be able to push in top lane, so maybe get a plate there, but at the very least get a free reset. But this one is getting kind of rough for EG because it does just feel like they're bleeding out in all lanes. I mean, you look at the marksman completions. I'm sure that Danny is sitting on some gold, but that's 2 items done now for Hansama, and it's still the first mythic. You know, not enough gold, even with the golden pocket. Danny still can't afford his mythic, so it is pretty rough right now. You know how far down he is. A good 2,000 gold in the bot lane. This is one of those things. Hansama is such a consistent player. You know, he's one of those guys that when you give him a lead, it's very rare for him to give up that lead, no matter who he is playing against. You know, whether it is in the LEC, whether it was internationally, he's a player who is very adept at taking advantage, using that to carry games. And they have a composition really built to kind of enable him and protect him.
Oh, wow. Just Arcane just forward, gets rooted in place, has reinforcements nearby, though, with CoreJJ there. Figured he was safe. Safe enough, I suppose. Reading back up and running back away. Interesting choice. Yeah, you can see the money right there, right? The marksman. Yeah, they're the ones who are ahead.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Hansama is so rich. And Ezreal can become very, very difficult to take down because you can go for these really tanky builds. We'll see if he is going to go, you know, for the super defensive builds. We've been seeing some people do like Prowler's Claw and the more aggressive stuff that is becoming a bit more popular. But of course, there's still, you know, Crown of the Shattered Queen. You can go Frozen Heart. You can go those really uber defensive builds with just kind of 2 damage items and just sit on that. And we'll see what Hans wants to do here, as he does have the Karma and the Galio both for protection. So. But I mean, they have a lot of damage, so I don't feel like he needs to go full on DPS. I think that it is defensible to go a little bit more of kind of a passive build, a more defensive build.
Yeah.
Really, the only way I think that they are going to lose these fights is if he gets like insta-killed by a Lucian, a Gnar flank, you know, these types of things.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to maximize when you also have Lucian, when you also have Xin, when you have so much damage on your team.
And everyone on TL can basically, I think, ignore magic resist because it's only Ryze hitting you, and there's a Galio ult at some point. So, like, the first wave of Ryze damage will get blocked by Galio ult, and it's like, I don't need MR for that. Everyone else is AD, right? Like, even when Renata ults the squad, it's like, I'm getting auto-attacked by Xin, Zhao, and Lucian. That's a 5 AD comp on EG right there. It's 7 AD on EG, so it's like, well, Steel Cast makes a lot of sense here, and so does Death Stance.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also just difficult, I think, for Ryze sometimes to fight through someone like that Galio, right?
Yeah.
Because you are mid-range, you have to really kind of dance on the edge of the taunt. If you ever do get taunted up, you're going to get burst down. So We'll see. I think a lot of the team fighting is going to come down to setups from Impact and Inspired. I don't think you can really win a 5v5 by walking at TL. You've got to be able to find a TP flank. You've got to be able to get something going with that. But as we see the observers on the toggle, there's not a lot of vision here. And look how slow it is.
It hits Core, but who cares as we walk in the front line. Santorin takes the kill 1v3, and that's going to be an ulti out of several as well. We get the taunt for a bit, but wow, CC, they can't get much more done. Bjergsen doesn't find a second kill, but mid lane under fire. We'll find a tower.
And that's what I'm talking about, where you need setup for the Renata ult, right? Vulcan throws that out. Santorin just walked around it and then went in on him and killed him. And yeah, it did hit Core, I think, but like, who cares? Unless it hits one of the main carries, it's not a big deal. It has got to connect with powerful auto attackers. That is really the strength of this. And we can watch it one more time. TL just kind of clearing out vision here. You know, EG is trying to set up some sort of a punish, but TL had vision on the Lee Sin, on the Jhin, on the Ryze. They know there's no carries here to actually punish you, so he steps around it, he goes in, he finishes off the kill, and then is easily covered here by Hans and Bjergsen, who go forward trying to find more. A good buffer on the kick there from Inspired does keep them safe from the follow-up, but still, it's now 4K gold. TL just looking so methodical. It's hard for EG to really get an in this game. It feels like they're just getting grinded out through superior laning, through superior skirmishing. TL is just looking straight up a cut above in this game.
Which, you know, the records indicate, right? This is the expectation. Team Liquid, I think, are, at this point, pretty much undefeated against EG. I think it's 4-0. It's going to be 5-0. They aced the lock-in finals and have had the number the whole time through, so have, to be fair, plenty of other teams in the LCS. But, yeah, TL definitely not dropping a beat here. CoreJJ on his way to 5-0 in the regular season so far, so obviously pretty good look here as well. In we go with Hansama. Dodges what would have been a, just, not even a slow or a rude, but jojopyun has to run for his life. Gets out there. Somebody he'll burn from the AD carry. Danny down a summoner for that one. Jojo gets away, but we keep the fire going. Mid lane turret under a lot of threat. Herald coming up soon, and if they follow that one up, that's turret down. Yeah,
it looks like it's definitely going to be going down here. We can see it's CDR boots here for Hans, so a lot of options. He could just be using the Caulfields to build in towards his Mythic.
I think
it's also Death's Dance. Theoretically, that was what I was going to say, because I do think, you know, speaking about what you were talking about, there's so much physical damage here. You know, largely it's unlikely for Ryze to be able to get much down on him, so Death's Dance does feel pretty darn efficient. But it could just be Cloth Armor early, finish your Mythic, then go into Frozen Heart.
Yeah, a lot of options there. Even GA would make some degree of sense.
Totally,
well, yeah, I mean, it's like, whatever. Kind of do what you want.
That's kind of Ezreal, right? You can really just build anything, and people are like, huh, that could work.
Right, it turns out that he doesn't really scale off attack speed and crit very much, so it's like, well, what has raw AD on it? Maybe some ability haste.
AP's pretty good, too.
My AP ratios are all right. They're all right. So, you know, as long as you give, like, the generic baseline. Right, well, right, because, like, everything gives AD or AP, basically. Yeah. Like, almost, right? So everything is like, at least 80% offensively efficient. And you just kind of tailor
skip the redemption Ezreal.
Skip the redemption Ezreal. Yeah, I think we drop off those ones. I don't think he needs a locket. You know, it's not a Senna or anything, so you know, hop off that one. But yeah, a lot of tools out there. It's kind of fun to see what's going on with that one. Obviously, Ryze wants to build mana, so they just go for the more durable ones.
Yeah. And I think EG kind of wants to try to play through sides, right? You have Gnar Ryze. You could potentially go into that 1-3-1 style of kind of setup, but they're getting pushed so heavily elsewhere on the map. You know, Impact is finally getting some pressure on the map. You know, they do knock down their first tower. It is an objective bounty, so that's something nice for them, but it's always scary if you're going to be out in that side lane against a Galio team, right? Because if you are matching the Lucian, you have got to keep eyes on that Galio. Anytime Galio walks into fog, you've got to back up, which makes it very difficult, even if you can win the 1v1, which I'm not convinced they can, to actually make any sort of a pick here.
Flash, he couldn't even jump the wall. He's not cooldown anyway, but still. All right, hey, Flash for Realm Warp is a cooldown positive trade in favor of EG, but can they punish Bwipo's Flash cooldown, because we're 4 minutes away from Dragon Soul?
Yeah, that is the big question, right? You know, what are they going to be able to get done with that? EG are so heavily on the back foot. There is a couple of deep wards. You know, you look up towards that top side, and this is really just kind of trying to cover the push up there that Impact did have going, but right now, TL invading into this bot side jungle. They have Bjergsen pushing in the wave. They already pushed mid. Now they have this 3-man squad kind of that can bounce in between mid and top and just slowly chip away here. Shield up Hans, send him forward. Bjergsen's just really zoning, and they get out the TP, so now they just have to retreat.
Gonna try a nice kick, though, on the whole squad, and that's gonna be a frontline attempt, but they're putting a bunch of damage. The money is down. Danny is gone. Is the team fight gonna be good enough that a second kill comes through? Thanks to jojopyun, we've got signs of life. Root onto Bjergsen, pulled right back in. A nice handshake and a nice bit of clap. Yes, here comes the Baron. Jungler down, mid down, bot down, 5v2. Baron's on the board.
Inspired finding the huge kick there on Hansama. And yes, he had flash shift, but it actually bought them enough time to close the gap for Vulcan to throw the ulti across here. They get multiple kills. They're going to get the Baron. There was objective bounties active, and they took some kill bounties as well. And EG just took what was a 6,000 gold lead, knocked 4.5k off of it, and they are right back into this game. Let's watch this one more time. TL just feeling so incredibly confident to push up here. Hans shifting in under the tower even, looking for that poke. And as Bjergsen goes for the dive, they lose track of where Inspired is. They have no wards on that side. The kick flash there onto Hansama. He is knocked in. The Renata ulti comes across, CCing up multiple people. Danny with the Jhin ult hitting him from that back line. They had the setup. They close the gap. They get the root for an additional kill as well. And now EG, they're right back in it. Yes, it is soul point for TL, but if they can take down this tower, stave off that soul, get that next dragon for themselves, they've got a real fighting chance.
Yeah, they do. Well done. So, what are you going to get with the Baron power play? Already 2,000 gold now. So often you see a team where, like, they get the kill, they get the Baron, but they've got to reset, and then, well, they respawn, they push the base in, you have, like, under 1,500, right? Because TL goes back to the map, they find, like, a random tower to kill, or race pusher, whatever, but EG actually got to reset and then get more done afterwards. So it's already, like, very forward here. 1,500 gold difference you're mentioning, it has gotten closer. Just got to figure out who can hit what.
And Hans is just going for the more aggressive option. So he went for Cyrilda's, just sold the cloth armor, I guess, decided to opt out of whether it was going to be a Frozen Heart or a Death Dance or whatever it was going to be. Decided he didn't want that. So just going more purely for the damage. Bjergsen working towards the Zhonya second, I think, works pretty well in Galio. Yes, it's not a super efficient DPS item, but because his role is more to facilitate, that is going to be his kind of safety in a fight. Throw your body forward, use the Zhonya for that stasis to buy time for your carries to really kind of push through. And over on the other side, you're seeing those item completions come in for EG. Danny able to grab the LDR. It is kind of a power trough on 2, but we can get the IE. He's going to be very strong.
Yep.
And Jojo has his tier fully stacked, so he's got the Fimbulwinter. He's working up towards that, and we'll see if EG has bought themselves enough time to try to really contest at this dragon, because TL is still more powerful right now, and if Hans can have a good fight, they can still claim soul and really maintain full control. If they lose this dragon, if they lose this fight around here, though, you start to get pretty nervous as TL, I think.
30 seconds, and it will be Baron buff on for 10 seconds during this one. I want to point out one thing about Santorin's smite cooldown. He used it on a wave a little while ago. He does not have a second charge, so if he smites in the team fight, he will not have a smite for the dragon itself if it's on, if they do it on spawn. It's a very small desync there of about, I want to say 20, 30 seconds, so that might matter. I believe Inspired actually has both charges, so track that one. Handshake not going to land, but in fact, going for a little bit of poke now. EG going to own the river as much as they can, but...
Look at Inspired. He's trying to get that flanking angle again. He knows they can't play front to back.
He was spotted watching up, though. Like, they saw him go up that way, so Bjergsen's going to mark him, get him over the wall. Nicely done. A good ward sees that one. Santorin front lining. Here comes the Berserk. Going to hit 2. Ezreal can't do damage, though, through the ultimate, but that's going to time out eventually. And now we're onto the map. True Shot Barrage going to land for a bit of damage on a Vulcan. A couple of ults traded back and forth. Now is it going to be enough now?
Just buy time for Hansama to poke. TL don't need to start this up, but instead they get too close, and
Gore Drinker buys some time as Santorin without an ulti just goes down. Danny finds one. 5v4. EG have a lot of control, but Gnar has timed out. One fewer ultimate now available. Third shot comes through, I should say, and now once again onto the dragon. They could burst this. They could time it with the smite. Danny on the 4th shot. Get it down to 1k. There you go. And that is a dragon claimed, soul denied so far.
Nicely done by EG, and I think Santorin just got a little bit impatient there. There's no reason to try to 50-50 that dragon. At that point, with Renata almost out of mana, with Renata having no ultimate, wait out the Gnar, allow your Ezreal to continually poke away at them, try to get them chipped down before you really go in and commit to that fight. But stepping forward, felt like he could have got that dragon down. Instead, he gets burst out, he gets punished for this. Bjergsen had the mark on Inspired, and I thought this fight was going to go pretty well for them. As you call it out, the Berserk does go on to 2, but Hansama, his autos weren't doing anything to Santorin, and Santorin was in range of no one. And at this point, I just think TL want to play it slow. Allow Hansama to get his work done, to poke them down slowly, but instead they move a little bit too far forward. He gets rooted up there by the Jhin W off of what I believe was the Gnar ultimate, or excuse me, the Gnar boulder.
Yep.
So landing that good bit of CC, they're able to burst him down because he used his ulti to actually, disengage the Renata Glasc ultimate there. So a nice pick from EG. They stave off that soul for now, but TL still with a pretty strong position here.
We go towards Infinity Edge now for the marksman Danny. Similar, well, armor pen coming through for Bwipo, who's already on his first mythic there. finally gets his way to Kraken Slayer. But I will say, you know, being still stuck on 2 items with Lucian, those items are all very expensive, by the way, right? Like, the Ruin King is 3,300 gold, Kraken Slayer is 34.
Ryze is going to come and ult him. They're going to go for a 2-man play here. If Bwipo stays for this wave, they can Ryze ult him, and Inspire can wrap around behind, but he has the sense. He knows it. They have
He's
no
still
vision.
Kind of the same spot. He's finally running backwards now, but Lucian should get behind him. And they know Blue get popped. There we go. Jump towards the wall. Pushed in. Rooted in place. No way to live this one. And that is a deletion. He had the Spidey sense, but it's just stuck in range.
Yeah, it didn't quite bail out. And that's that situation where you've got no eyes on this. You know, you look at this entire area, this whole side of the map, there's nothing from TL in this whole quadrant. You know, you've got to play with respect to that fact. All of their vision is around the Baron. Bwipo, you want to get that wave moving in the right direction, but maybe he was close to a buy. Maybe he just felt like, hey, I can kind of greed this out. Now, the Lucian has not gotten too much done. He is up in farm, but Impact is having more effect in the team fights, and Bwipo has not been able to really, you know, have that pairing with Bjergsen because he doesn't have any CC to actually set up an offensive ultimate. So he's kind of just been there to farm. And TL are slowly but surely losing control in this game. They've drafted themselves without any real engage.
Bjergsen Inspired spotting each other, knowing what's going on. They're going to go right back in. Jump to the minions, get out, but a slow could be enough to start the fight. Has to kick backwards. Ulti on cooldown, a slow to Jojo, but he's going to be fine. Wow, yeah, you're right. Flash down as well for Inspired. So that is a pretty good sort of, you know, quasi-pick from TL.
I mean, Bjergsen just had a really good angle, spotted him moving in there. And, you know, he ward hopped, I believe, onto the pink ward, so he couldn't actually ward hop out. So he uses the Q to try to jump to safety, but his safeguard's still on cooldown, so he feels he needs to use the kick flash to get on the right side of that Jhin. But it means that's really one of their biggest playmaking tools. And both teams are very light on engage, so with that down, it's hard to imagine Hansama getting picked. Having stopwatch, having flash, having heal, everything available here puts even more pressure on Impact to be able to try to set something up.
Yep. Well, he does have flash. He's currently available to be Mega Gnar. There it is. But doesn't matter. You can sweep away the wards at Baron. That's an easy dance. And keep in mind, TL can still play it slow. Mountain Soul is going to be a big injection of power. You know, they had that 6,000 gold lead. You go kind of right back there when you got the Mountain Soul, if they can make that one happen. So, hey, wait 80 seconds. That's going to be, you know, our hope here. Bit of healing cut now coming through for CoreJJ. It will help, of course, against the Lee Sin with the Gore Drinker and the Death Stance. I believe heals a little bit as well still. And now, well, the ward's gone on both sides. Fog of Ward down here. One lone trinket ward. Everyone's going to reset, put the controls back in inventory, and move forward yet again. Hansama just taking free farm, going towards, as you mentioned, a lethality mythic. So we'll see with Duskblade or Prowlers or what. Even Eclipse is a possibility. Yeah. But that's kind of the route he's on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to see where he does want to go. Bwipo has just been kind of taking as much of the jungle as he can. He takes their own blue buff. He takes the enemy red buff on that push. You know, that time he did have safety to push because they spotted all of EG around mid. It was only Ryze that was missing, and even then it was Ryze recently missing. So he goes in, he tries to take away some of those jungle camps to increase his CS advantage individually there. And TL really just setting up so heavily for this dragon. EG have very little vision. That was their deepest ward that just got cleared out there by Santorin. They have no eyes in the river whatsoever. Inspired's trying to poke forward here, but Inspired now in trouble.
There's the ward hop. We know Flash is down. Can they get the blast plan is the question. He's able to kick to safety, and he's out. But he's out at 12 HP with a dragon available.
He's got to stay. He knows that there's that potential for that soul. It was flash off Santorin, so they want to try to see if they can catch Santorin.
Big heal.
He has 2 charges of Smite, so he's trying to wait for it. But if they rush it right now, I'm not sure the Smite's going to be back up in time.
Lee Sin Q. Easy clap. Lee Sin Q. We've had it before. Might do it again here.
Looking.
On the dragon, looking for the play. Impact going to be marked out here. Will be claimed. Dragon Soul on, but now Impact looking for a bit more. Shows Bjergsen to his wall. jojopyun is on the way out. An attempt for EG, but one that does not succeed. Team Liquid get Dragon Soul.
Yeah, that's really an advantage gained by their vision control. They had fully choked EG out of their own jungle. Inspired trying to clear some wards, gets chunked out, and that meant that they lost full positioning, and now TL right onto the Baron. EG do have eyes on this, but can they do anything about it? They're TPing in here. Double TP coming in.
No smite on Santorin. They have to peel back. There's no way you can coin flip because the coin is on heads on both sides. Right now, it's going to be a look forward. No slow on a Santorin, though he's going to be all right with this one. And nothing else happening. An attempt at Baron to force TP to get out.
Yeah, that's a great start, though. Very low risk. and they get double TP there. Impact trying to go aggressive now, though. Can they get anything more?
Or is squishy, so it gets dropped to about 40% now on the front line, force the ulti out of the junglers. Bjergsen's still going to be recalling the TP back in, shoved in the wall yet again. Stopwatch now burned afterwards, but this could be a very easy kill in Zhao. Gordon Rigger, a root. They need the last few shots. They don't find the kill. And Bjergsen's back in. Gonna root in for one. Ryze does find the first one. I think Death's Dance claimed that kill for him. And now they get a chase down. Sorota slow onto Vulcan. Vulcan flashes the wall, stays alive for now, running past their blue buff, but the reinforcements have arrived. A kill on a blue. Hansama got to be safe enough. And will they find the rest of Flash taunt? That's gonna be Jojo. You have to believe he's gonna die for that one. Flash is down. The health bar should be following, and he's gonna get bailed out, but he will not find the kill. Shutdown goes through to Bwipo.
And now you have to think Baron should be theirs. They can move over towards it, start clearing out all these wards. Santorin's going to be up here pretty soon, but I think they feel confident to just start it, knowing that they can turn onto Inspired. They have the man advantage here right now. Impact has no health, no TP, so he can't really get back to base. Inspired trying to get over here. We'll see if he can find the angle. TL very clearly need to turn on him.
And Inspired just has no good way to do that one. There we go. Ward Hop, a second defensive flash in a row, practically from cooldown, but it does stop the Baron.
But I like these starts from TL. They're not overcommitting to it. They're not just all-inning on the Baron randomly. They start up the Baron without Smite the first time around, they get 2 TPs. This time, again, Santorin is still respawning, but they started up knowing EG cannot fight you, so they have to send over their jungler, and you just turn on this guy and you punish him. And here it is one more time. TL just kiting it back into this corridor, making it very difficult to really get in onto Hansama. You know, Inspired's trying to play the angles, trying to find some sort of a pick here for them. As Impact, you know, goes in aggressive. It was a great sidestep there from Core on the Jhin W. The Everfrost root does connect onto Santorin, though. Wall of stun, stunning him into the wall. He bought a lot of time here, you know, with that stopwatch, but they are able to knock him down just barely. I think it was the Death Dance dot that was on him. Again, Inspired good with these disengaged kicks onto Bjergsen. Bjergsen really hasn't been able to get a super effective taunt, but this time around now, Bjergsen had his flash, flashes in, gets the taunt onto Jojo, who is always going to be slated to go down. We see some of the power here of that Renata Glasc W, but clearly no one on TL low enough to really be threatened, so he was never going to get the reset. And they just go right over to the Baron. They get the flash off Inspired again. So once again, EG are without that major playmaking tool, and there's 2-man starting up the Baron here with 3-man zoning from TL. Inspired trying to sneak around the back.
They're going to find it. Inspired, though, has been marked, and I think Bjergsen's going to sit in that brush for the most part and make sure he can find his teammate. Berserk going to attempt. CoreJJ will get brought to auto-attacking a Mountain Shield. That did all nothing, and then shields his team for a bit more. So nice attempt, but no pick to be found. And we try now again with Jhin. Baron will reset. 2 ultis now down for EG. Frontline going to take the 4th shot if they can. Be careful, Santorin. Looks like it's going to be no problem at all, even sidestepped anyway.
Yeah, Jhin really struggles into Mountain Soul Shield because he works a lot off execute damage. And the upfront shielding negates a lot of that. It's hard to push these people low. Between Karma plus the Mountain Soul Shield, if you pop your ulti and there's a Mantra Shield, you just aren't going to do anything, right? You know, you really do rely on people getting knocked down low, getting those burst kills with the 4th-shot execute. At this point for EG, it's tough. I mean, TL don't have great ways to engage, but EG are kind of, it feels like, you know, getting really the map dictated to them. So they have got to try to decide where they're going to make their stand. Is it going to be around Elder, or is it going to be trying to set up flank, you know, at the Baron? But because they haven't been able to get a lot of deep wards, they're kind of struggling to really get much going. They are farming. They do have the IE for Danny, so some things are kind of working in their favor as far as that goes, but it's tough to see TL really giving them the fight they want unless they can somehow sneak in a deep ward, find a flank, find some sort of a good kick, like we saw from Inspired up in the top lane that got them really their sole big team fight win.
Yeah, looking really good right now. We'll see what the next one looks like because Elder Dragon's up in 112. We know the Baron's already up, but even though EG got the first one, they're still behind here. His team looking done a good job. And I mean, you figure the fact that, hey, you know, EG, they're up kills, they're up a Baron. They are, though, down in gold. It's been better farm from the TL side, and as well as the 3 turret kills. And now we see what the standoff ends up being. Vision not great for TL around the Baron. It's actually a blue control ward, so EG owns that. They own that move, so TL has to do a little bit of guesswork around that side of the map.
Interesting second buy here for Impact. So he goes for the Anathema's Chains, and he actually just puts that over on Hansama, who is a massive portion of their damage. The reduced tenacity can be important in situations like this. If you can actually finally catch him, get him into a CC combo, potentially burst him down, there is some hope there, but he is very, very difficult to lock down. Has the Mountain Soul Shield, has been sitting on the stopwatch for a good 10 minutes, hasn't had to use it. and has both summoners available. So it's going to be tough, and you can see CoreJJ really prioritizing the vision control here. Went into the Vigilant Wardstone, something that you don't see purchased a lot, but I do think it's actually a pretty effective buy. The stats on it are fairly efficient, and it allows you to have that big repository of pinks to clear out vision. Just drop them to clear out a ward really quickly, and then replace it in a better spot. And they're using this to control the vision around the dragon. They're starting up the Elder now, having Bwipo solo it, and EG have got to try to funnel through here, but TL again just pull back.
So, tempered expectations. TL playing it very slowly, very cautiously. And they are giving a lot of time, of course, for EG to catch up in this game, right? The scaling is still moving forward. Jhin has gotten, I believe, to his third item by now. Can't quite kill the ward for Bwipo, but
Mega's down now.
that's pretty important. Gnar is down, and now a big shot comes in. The charm coming across. It will hit the squad, but is it enough? Renata Glasc is down. The dive on in. Bwipo will not fall just yet. In goes Lee Sin. Tries to find a bit more. Ulti's on. Galio drop now there as well. GA is down. Is it going to be enough as Lee Sin jumps the wall, still drops down. 2 kills picked up, and TL, they bide their time, but they get 2 for nothing.
Yeah, and EG's trying to retreat, but Bjergsen's
that's
in!
going to be a lot. The knockups are in. Realmore can't get him to safety. And they're going to chase for a bit more. CoreJJ still providing movement speed. A flank TP to make it sure this will indeed be the ace. All 5 will die. Will they get anything back, though? And Gnar into the wall. The shield is big. They will not find those kills. 5 for nothing. Team Liquid with the Bud Light ace.
And Bwipo is pushing in. They're looking to end the game here. He's got the wave prepped. He's going for the inhibitor towers here. TL playing it slow, playing it smart, not allowing EG to ever really have a shot after that one small mistake, playing it so methodically down the stretch.
And they're going to get at least this inhibitor. We've got 30 seconds on Ryze, 30 on Gnar. They're going for the base right now. 5v3 at the worst. Vulcan goes for a little bit of poke, finds a stun. They get inspired, but is it really even going to matter? Honestly, the Karma Shield can do everything that Lee Sin can. Just press R plus E, and you got the entire champion in your pocket. So, TL walking away. 1 turret down, middle under fire. Nah, right back in. Let's go for it yet again. jojopyun still down for 10. The same for Impact. And now we go to Nexus turret number 2. Diving on in, Lee Sin gets himself a kick. A bit of decent damage, but it's not going to matter. Danny running away. A little bit of health left onto him, and finally the kills start coming through. Danny drops down 1 on the board for Bwipo. Nexus falls. Team Liquid stay in first place.
Really nicely played game there by TL. It looked like it was going to be a stomp. EG did make him work for it. But after that one overstep in the top lane, the one time, they're really able to punish TL. TL just played it so slowly, so methodically, never gave them an opportunity to actually find those engages, to find those flanks, constantly marking where Inspired would be, marking where Impact would be, sweeping out any possible flanking wards, even going in for the wardstone for the additional pinks to be able to make sure there's no vision behind them. They have all their T's crossed, all their I's dotted, waiting out the Gnar in that final fight, and the split second they saw that Impact was in Gnar, they instantly went for the fight. They instantly went for that engage, knowing EG would not be able to compete in that situation. So a very different look here, I feel like, from TL, you know, not a super typical comp. The Lucian, I would not say it was dominant by any means. It seemed like it was, you know, part of the game, it was there. But this one really felt like mostly about Hansama. The big lead that they were able to create early kind of carried them through, and TL, I just think, playing intelligently to their win conditions, to the strengths of their comp, and to some of the weaknesses that EG had, which was the lack of reliable engage. It had to be Inspired or Impact, and they just never really gave them a lot of opportunities to find those engages.
That's true. So, you know, well done to TL. Maybe there were some moments EG could have found a little bit better, of course, but it is hard to pilot double marksman, right?
Yeah.
You pick Lucian to go and be a lane bully, and that's great, and you get some advantage. You get a couple of plates, and then it gets a bit tough to like navigate those when, well, Gnar's a better team fighter than you. Well navigated, good job TL. You know, holding on after the almost comeback as well. But we are joining LeTigress on stage with CoreJJ for our Verizon postgame interview.
Thank you, Phreak. I've got CoreJJ by my side. Another Team Liquid victory. I believe the 10th of spring thus far. So how has it been getting this time to play with Hansama a bit more regularly now that you are officially joined back with the team for a couple weeks now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good. I know our team was like doing great even without me, but I was like, you know, initially I was like a little bit worried, right? What if I joined and then suddenly we start losing? Luckily, we're doing well right now, and I feel like I'm more happy because last week we just like roaming mid. This week we just killed enemy val lane as well. So we are showing like diversity. So I'm happy with
Yeah, I know that the last time that you had to wait before coming to play, you just wanted to make sure you didn't get those losses, and you got the W's there as well. Here, it was very dominant from Team Liquid right at the start, but EG did eventually pose a fight when they got that kick into the Baron play after 20 minutes. Were you ever threatened by them at all?
Honestly, at some point, game was really boring. We could probably just like cleaned out the game because our game was really easy at some point, but I don't know. Eventually we won, and then the first thing I'm thinking after we won is probably we saved the LCS. Way more fun.
Yeah, more fun that way. In the end, though, it's really fun to see Team Liquid bringing out these different styles, as you mentioned. We heard a bit from you already going into the match against Cloud9 tomorrow. Also heard Fudge compare the two teams a bit. How would you compare your style compared to Cloud9?
Honestly, I don't know what C9 style is. I feel like if their win condition is either Summit just destroying enemy top lane, or Bravo just like popping up like crazy beast. That's all. Is it playstyle? I don't know.
Or just good players, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll have to see that match when it takes off in game 1 tomorrow. CoreJJ, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Another Team Liquid victory. I mean, there's so many at this point. Time for us to take another break. And on the other side, we got more action for you here on the LCS.
와, it's by Bwipo Pentakill.
This matchup.
I got more pentakills than you.
Yeah, but you play
You are a world champion.
Health bar low, Tot in the mid lane. We got more fights going on here. Lee Sin is in. A flash is Zhao. Bjergsen gonna stay alive, but Santorin knocks one down. And will they find the rest of Flash Tot? That's gonna be JoJo. You have to believe he's gonna die for that one. Flash is down. The health bar should be following, and he's gonna get bailed out, but he will not find the kill. This will indeed be the ace. All 5 will die. Will they get anything back, though? And Gnar into the wall. The shield is big. They will not find those kills. 5 for nothing. Team Liquid with the Bud Light ace.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.